Charlie 1.
Is Delta Force a Battlefield killer? The simple answer is no. It also depends, of course, on what Battlefield game we're talking about. Battlefield 2042? Even so, not really a killer. We saw, for example, X-Defiant by Ubisoft being labeled by some to become a Call of Duty killer. Well, that didn't happen and it never will either. I guess we as content creators are partly to blame when it comes to this kind of fuss around certain games. Especially some content creators that are mainly building their channels around one game only, for example as Call of Duty. And then when there's a game coming up such as X-Defiant, which in many ways plays like a COD game, then they hope so much that it will be the next big thing. Since the last COD titles hasn't been that great, that they also become blind or immune when it comes to criticism about that game, not being able to recognize the problems or shortcomings. I guess as many people have been saying when it comes to comparisons between new games and the bigger AAA franchises such as Call of Duty or Battlefield, the one thing that most likely would kill off one of those franchises is most likely themselves, if they don't manage to make good or engaging games or just simply stop doing them overall. At the same time, some committed fans and players will continue to buy these games even if they aren't that great. With that said, let us instead hope that a game such as Delta Force can do well alongside with other titles in the same genre, and also continue to do well when the next Battlefield game will be released maybe next year and fall. Because competition can hopefully push these larger companies such as DICE and EA as an example to try even more and hopefully do even better. I'm a bit late to the party when it comes to the Delta Force Alpha as I'm playing here, but it's a game that I've heard good things about already, and the videos I've seen has been looking impressive, especially considering that this is also a free-to-play game. The gameplay you're watching here when it comes to my video is me playing the Havoc Warfare game mode or game modes. It's actually 2 in there right now, at least, might be more later, who knows. It's like a Battlefield Big Battle experience overall with both infantry and vehicles. One of the game modes is called A&D, Attack and Defend, where you either break through the enemy lines and capture the strongholds within the area, or defend the same as a defender. Or you can play Capture, which is like Conquest in Battlefield, where you capture and hold objectives in order to get points and win. I ended up playing Capture a bit more than Attack and Defend since it was less chaotic. Don't get me wrong, that can be fun as well, but Capture plays a bit slower and I felt that I was able to control the flow of the gameplay a bit more in that game mode, a bit more tactical if you will. But you're also able to play Tactical Turmoil, which is a kind of extraction shooter a la Tarkov, where you can play as a 3-team squad capturing and decoding high-value supply. Now this is something I haven't been able to try out just yet, mainly since I want to play with a squad of friends when doing so. This is also probably a game mode where things can get a bit more try-hard and sweaty and maybe competitive. And let's see how I feel about that later down the line. But on top of that, we'll also be able to play a campaign that will be available at launch. Again, pretty impressive since the game will be free to play on PC, Android, iOS, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Xbox Series X and Series S. Yes, there's quite some player value already now presented in the alpha, and as described earlier, we might even see 2 different kind of player bases or audiences within the same game, since some guys will mostly prefer to play the Havoc Warfare, while some will mainly play Tactical Turmoil, since extraction shooters might be more their cup of tea. I believe that it's one of the strengths within the Delta Force Alpha so far that might be good for the game in the long run when we're talking about a future player base. Another thing that got me impressed besides the overall performance already in the alpha is the depth and details to be found when it comes to guns and attachments. For those that want to nerd into this even further, there's a possibility to caliber and tweak, for example, the grip that you just unlocked and equipped on your AR, and that's pretty neat. Might be hard for some to grasp the in-game events and how they work, but they're basically challenges in different categories, where you can unlock currencies and rewards. There are 3 categories of events, which is Recruit, Normal and Daily. There's one thing that I kind of miss when playing Delta Force that has to do with social value, if you will, and that is the possibility to chat with all and not only your team and squad when playing. Maybe I did something wrong, but I couldn't find an option to do so in the chat when it comes to the text chat, me playing on PC. Either way, it's very quiet in here when playing, at least for now, and which doesn't have to do so much specifically with Delta Force, but it's more something I've noticed the last couple of years in online games and FPS games. Maybe it is the fear to be reported if talking some smack talk nowadays that keep players away from the microphone or the keyboard typing in the chat. What do you think? I guess we're now getting into the part when it comes to the possible future of Delta Force, looking a bit ahead of things. We all know how important it is to get a good launch. There's been multiple games that has failed because of bad performance, problems with servers, or missing features in the game at launch. I believe, based on the experiences so far with Delta Force, that they are capable of getting a good release, but at the same time, you never know. The two other question marks I have is, will they be able to engage their players in the long run when it comes to meaningful updates and new content? This is a key component as well when it comes to new games, since I've played so many games through the years now that hasn't been on the offense when it comes to adding new content in time, whatever that is, so people start to drop off just because of that. Hopefully that's not the case with Delta Force. My second question is, what will it do when it comes to the bots, meaning the AI in the game? As for now, it's been complaints when it comes to having bots to fill out the servers, and due to the popularity so far when it comes to the game overall, maybe they should consider to remove the AI, at least in some of the game modes, or at least tone down their capability to aimbot while they are AI when it comes to headshotting you. Something that has become a problem for many players since the AI has been mistaken for being real players and therefore being accused of cheating. Which leads me to my third question: how will they be able to handle cheaters in Delta Force? It's not if it's gonna happen, it's more like when, and it's a free-to-play game, and the cheaters that has been exposed already in the game might even be employees of these companies, that are selling cheats, since it's a way for them to try those cheats out already and being ahead of the game, so to say, ready to make money already at launch selling those cheats. This might become one of the biggest challenges that lies ahead of the developers of Delta Force. For the sake of the game and the players that just wants to have fun playing a video game, I do hope they have a good roadmap that includes actions against cheaters as well. So to wrap things up a bit, no, Delta Force is not a Battlefield killer, but hopefully a good kind of Battlefield clone, if I may use that word, that is fun to play and so far has impressed me when it comes to the playtest. I'm looking forward to the full release because I do believe for me that this will be a game that I come back to once in a while, or maybe even often, depending on what we just discussed in the video. Let me know your thoughts as well, and as always, thanks a lot for watching. If you did enjoy, please leave a like, it helps me out here on YouTube, and if you like the content overall, make sure to subscribe to my channel, and we talk soon again in an upcoming video. Take care, bye bye.
They are attacking one of our objectives. We have conquered Alpha 2.